What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Happy beginning to this week. Another hot day here in Columbus. I hope it's nice and cool in the shoe on August 30th. Although I got a feeling it's gonna be hot, but it's gonna be hot for Texas because we gonna get it fired up in there in the shoe. Our fans turning it up. I cannot wait. Please take a second, see that thumbs up, click like for me. Do that right now. Very, very important, very helpful. And also, if you have not subscribed, please click that subscribe button. You keep finding yourself coming back here, you like the content, go ahead and hit that button. You'll be notified if you click the bell as well when we are going live or putting any content out. All right. So, y'all know what it is. How many days left? I got two I want to talk about. One, we got 19 Ahmed Plummer days. Until August 30th, kickoff versus Texas. Really, really good corner here at Ohio State. Played for the 49ers. I believe it was for 6 years, 6 seasons. First round draft pick, long rangy guy. Just an all around really good corner. But I want to give a honorable mention to Tom Tupa. Tom Tupa, first of all, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame for the Ohio State Hall of Fame. He was a punter. Did y'all know this? He was a punter and a quarterback. He played quarterback here for a little bit, but he played a lot of punter in the league as well. And how many seasons he was in the league? A long time. And I'm trying to remember this. 18 years, okay, in the NFL. I can't think of in Nevada when he chimes in. I can't think of anybody else who played punter and quarterback at Ohio State. He definitely deserves a tip of the cap. Also, remember, you guys, your super chats that you put out there today with your excellent questions, they go to the Pay It Forward program, our military, our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they look out for us. We got a big show for you tonight. More intel on the scrimmage, the stars popping up. Lots of good stuff, man. It's exciting, man. We're under 3 weeks until the game, and I'm just beyond myself with excitement. Nevada, what's up, brother? How you doing on this fine Monday evening?
Well, I got to be honest with you, I'm a little overwhelmed. Because
Yes.
we had so much information on our message board today that it was dizzying. It was like so much information was coming in, and stuff was flying up on the board, and I was having a hard time keeping up with it because we had press conference stuff, we had more scrimmage stuff, we had eyes on practice today. We had stuff in there. So if you're a member of BuckeyeScoop.com, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it was Nugget Palooza today
Yes,
on
it
the board.
was.
And there was just stuff flying in and out. And I mean, so much to talk about and so many good things. Less than 3 weeks to go before the big game. I saw the AP poll came out. They've got Penn. I think they've selected Penn State to be like the national champion for the next 10 years or something like that, because I mean, they're getting a lot of love, man. They're getting a lot of love. They're getting like love like Teddy Pendergrass used to get when he was with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He'd have those all women concerts where it'd just be Teddy and like an entire arena full of women. And that's how much love that Penn State's getting
Yes.
right now. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of crazy, you know.
And can they handle it?
I don't know.
That's the question.
Yeah.
It's like well, I don't want to diss Penn State like that. I was gonna say like the geeky, nerdy guy who finally just all of a sudden all the girls are on him, and he's just so awkward. Like, how do you deal with that? But I'm not saying you're better than the geeky. You're not Screech from Saved by the Bell of Penn State. You just haven't been in this position. And my Penn State guy I talked to, he keeps saying the team's not buying into it, and we're not buying into it. We're not convinced. Okay, listen, it's one thing you can say that. That's fine. But when you become the bigger target in these games, you got to go on the road against these teams you're supposed to beat. And this big, bad number 2 Penn State picked by everybody to win the title and to win the Big Ten. Watch out. We've been doing this for years. Us Buckeye fans, we've lived it. I'm telling you. So welcome to the party. Can James Franklin navigate that? Can he go from not winning any big games to winning big games and also winning games he should win under the pressure of being a top 2 team? We gonna see, Nevada. I don't know. I gotta see it, man. I don't know about you, but
Well, I just I'm looking at a team. I mean, look, we lost a lot last year, but with if you said, who was your best player on defense? Yeah, I'd be like Caleb Downs. And they say, who was your best player on offense? And I'd be like JJ Smith. And for Penn State, Warren was their best player on offense, in my opinion, and Abdul Carter was clearly their best player on defense. And those are the guys that they lost. So that, they've got a pretty favorable schedule, but they've got to come into the horseshoe, and I think that's going to be problematic for them. And James Franklin has definitely showed a propensity to losing games along the way. So yeah, so I mean, I like Ohio State starting at 3. It's not like we're sneaking up on people.
Yeah,
They've got Michigan at 14, which I think is way too high. And
clearly.
I mean, so look, but win your games and everything takes care of itself. We get number one in 19 days. So we'll get we win that game and run autopilot to the playoffs. We lose that game, and it's gonna we need to be close to perfect to make it. But yeah, that's just kind of where we're at.
And real quick before we move on, take a peek, Nevada. Number 12, the Fighting Illini. I told you I was nervous about that game.
Yeah,
Going on
at
the
the
road to Champaign, they're right outside the top 10, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, we've talked about our road games being, Washington, Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Man, those are 4 tough road games, 4 tough road games. And Illinois and Wisconsin are undoubtedly going to be at night. I wouldn't be even surprised if both of them are at night. So it's
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna have our hands full, but that's what makes college football exciting. College football is the great. I mean, in my opinion, it's the greatest spectacle in the world is the college football season, even better than the NFL. I mean, the NFL is great, but college is just extra special to me. And yeah, Ohio State's going to have a great road, starting with a great first game. But that Illinois game, yeah, that one's circled on the calendar for sure.
Definitely. And listen, I feel you. I love NFL. I love NBA. I'm a basketball, football guy, but nothing touches college football for me. That is the number one for me. And people think, oh, well, you're not that much into NFL, NBA. No, I am. I love NFL, NBA, but it's nothing touching my Buckeyes in this college football game, and it's just on another level. So with that said, Nevada, let's kick it off, man. Like, tell me, let's get this because again, it was a nugget palooza. It was just like a blitz of nuggets. It was just like, hey, like, hold on, wait, pow, pow, pow. I mean, it's just hitting you all day. And I'm like, hold on. I had to click on the thread, and Nevada, like, is that a different nugget? Or is that the same one from earlier? I'm like, that's a new nugget. Like, hold on, man. Click. So yeah, let's get into it, Nevada. Stars of the scrimmage and just guys emerging. Let's have you kick it off, man.
Well, one name that you haven't, I mean, not that you haven't heard of the name, but you haven't been hearing the name a lot in terms of praise. Another guy on B Moses' sleeper list was Taiwan Malone. A
Yeah,
guy,
I did say that.
yeah, you did say that. You said that
Cheers.
early on. You're like, this is a guy that I'm looking out for, and he's getting a lot of love right now. And we've been looking for some production from some of those backup defensive tackles. This is a guy, went to Ole Miss originally, tried to play 2 sports, a baseball player as well, and that didn't work out so well. Transferred to Ohio State in his 3rd year now since he's transferred, and hasn't really done much. But man, oozing with ability. You're talking about 5-star talent coming out of high school. Well, I think they're
Yeah,
finally tapping into that. And I would not be, if you're a fan and you start hearing the coaches start talking about Taiwan Malone, remember we're here at first, because that's a guy that I think is starting, start to get ready to make a real contribution to Ohio State, and in a position of need, a guy that we need someone, and probably a couple more to step up. But he's a guy that's really emerged. A guy that we're hearing a lot of really good things about, and a guy that I think that you'll start hearing out of coaches' names sooner than later, because he really made a move in the scrimmage, has really made a move all fall camp. Really good news there with Taiwan alone. So I'll stick with linemen, but I'll flip the other side. A guy that's getting a lot of love right now is Philip Daniels. And
yeah,
the this is a kid that coming out of high school, Ohio State passed on, went to Minnesota, started 4 games. They get him in the portal. So this is a guy that potentially has got 3 years of eligibility left with the Buckeyes. And he's making a move for playing time. I mean, he's making a real move for playing time. We're hearing He's incredibly versatile, could play literally almost any position on the line, but certainly the 2 guard and 2 tackle positions. They've had him repping a lot at right tackle right now. And, from a pass rush, just from a pass rush, blocking, because the blocking, if the offensive line had an Achilles heel in the spring, it was defending the quarterback and stopping the pass rush of the Buckeyes, which means one of two things: either our defense is really good at getting to the quarterback, or our offensive line was not as good as we needed them to be protecting the quarterback. But it's a kind of that zero-sum game where when the defense plays well, that means the offense has got an issue and vice versa. So um, that has been something that's kind of continued through the fall. The defense has been able to get there, and they're looking for guys that can defend the quarterback. And the people that can pass protect are going to be the guys that play. And I think for Ethan, the big left tackle out of Rice, he's a little susceptible to the speed rush, and Phillips a little bit more of an easy mover, a guy that's really been able to kind of shadow box on the right side, maybe making a move for playing time. But they've got a lot of versatility in this line. This is a line that goes at least 10 deep in terms of guys that can play, which is just an incredible turnaround for an offensive line room that's been maligned for as long as I can remember. We've got an awful lot of guys that can play, and Philip Daniels is one of those guys as well. So Taiwan Malone on the defensive line side, Philip Daniels on the offensive line side, 2 dudes that I think you're going to be increasingly hearing more and more about. And Philip Daniels could actually be in a starting spot, believe it or not, in 19 days, 19 Ahmed Plummer days. So
Yeah.
just something to keep an eye out for.
Speaking of that, I forgot to put the homie Ahmed Plummer on the screen. I've been doing that. I want to stay consistent. That's your guy right there. And then there is Tom Tupa. Look at that throwback. That just sends chills down my spine. A throwback uniforms with the well, they had Nikes on. I was gonna say Pumas, but they was rocking the Nikes in this picture. But yeah, so let me jump in and comment on Taiwan Malone. Yes, I called that one early. I'm going to break my arm, patting myself on the back. Now he has to go out and deliver, obviously, but he's making a move clearly. And one thing Coach Johnson has continually said about him is that he keeps reminding, like Nevada said, which is very important, that the whole two-sport thing, it's one thing being an athlete and being really good and doing your thing, but when your focus is more so on one sport and you're starting to see the fruit of it now that he's really transitioned to football full time, because he loved the baseball. And I believe that one of the reasons why he went to Ole Miss initially is because they were going to let him play both. But come on, dog, you gotta make a decision. With that said, that athleticism and all of that with his skills, his toolbox, and the repetition is starting to come into play. And one thing I said with Taiwan Malone, not just him, but the defensive line in general behind the starters, I was just admonishing the fans to not give up on these guys. Don't give up on remember I said this, Nevada. Don't give up on the Taiwan Malones, the Jason Moores, and those guys that are not considered starters. They were high level recruits, and you can't expect the guy just to come out and be freaking Ndamukong Suh day one. Like, it takes time for some guys to develop. So we're whining and moaning about defensive line, a lack of depth, but we haven't seen them. We haven't given them a chance to step up. So it's really good to hear Taiwan Malone is doing that. So I cannot wait to see it in the game. And so I'm very happy to hear about that. Now, as far as Philip Daniels goes, watching him, I had him in my notes at practice as well. He looked good physically, and he looked very his footwork out there. I mean, he looked very in control. I didn't play offensive line, but you can tell when a guy's technique is good. You can tell when he's not being beat off the ball. I mean, he looked solid out there. And so not only that, he has multiple years of eligibility left. That's another thing. You know what I'm saying? And then another thing I'll say is, yes, we did miss on him. We didn't offer him, but there's some pros and cons about the portal. This is one of the pros where you can, circle back, circle the block, and scoop up a guy from your backyard that you might have missed on, who has developed later. And now, boom, he's happy to be home, and he's excelling. And, he has a very high ceiling. One last thing I'm going to say about this as I kind of wrap up my thoughts is that I had some people ask me earlier, like, man, is Ethan struggling? And listen, we haven't heard anything. Nevada, you can confirm. We haven't heard of Ethan struggling. Like, first of all, a new left tackle at Ohio State coming from Rice. Look, Josh Simmons wasn't perfect when he got here. He had to get up to the game speed. He had to get acclimated, but the talent was there. It's the same thing with Ethan. Yes, we got some very good DNs. We have very good defensive players. So he may not be perfect and he needs to touch up on some things. However, the competition is there. So it's not about Ethan struggling and not being as good per se. But to me, it's positive because we got guys like Phillip Daniels and Austin Saraville that are pushing. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to put that out there, Nevada, as you jump on it.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, they want Ethan to be the left tackle. I mean, they want him. They gave him a lot of money,
Yeah.
and that's not a reason to do it. But don't think for a second that that doesn't factor into these discussions. I mean, they're invested in him. He's a guy that's going to go high in the NFL draft. He's got all the measurables. He's going to play well. They just got to get it out of him. And you're right. It's an adjustment when you come from a place like Rice and you go to Ohio State. It's different. I mean, you're going from a place where you've got, good athletes to a place where Ohio State, where you've got elite athletes, just on every, on every aspect of the team, they're elite. So I think, for Ethan, he's just adjusting to the game speed. He's just, yeah, he's still relatively new here in terms of doing it. Unfortunately, he's only got 1 year to do it. I mean, Josh Simmons, we had multiple years, and you're right, he came on, um, you know, acclimated. Took him a while, and now he's the starting left tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and they're comparing him to Trent Williams. And people here were thinking that he was a bust and calling him Jimmy Josh Simmons, and wondering why he was there and stuff like that. But same thing with Ethan. Just like you give him a little bit of time. It's a long season. We still got three. With in his life, it's like dog years, man. Every week is worth 6 or 7 for him because he's coming from a place where he's just never faced this kind of talent before. So
Yeah.
he's got all the physical ability, and when they in the running game, he's devastating. When they get him out there, leading the
Yes.
sweeps or moves on the counters, man, he's a devastating blocker. He just needs to learn how to move his feet a little bit more and to handle the speed, particularly the speed rushers, because he can handle the bull rushing. He can handle he handles twists and stunts real well, but it's just the speed rush that he's had a little bit of a problem with, and he's adjusting to that. But no, it's I mean, at this point in fall camp, we're I think that the overall, I guess, theme or whatever for the camp has been, this is a very deep and talented team. I mean, we've got guys that can play at every position. We've got backups that can play at every position. We're not thin. We're not thin on positions that we've been traditionally thin on, like the offensive line. Last year, I've said it many times. Last year, at this time, people were freaking out about that. Well, this is probably the deepest, offensive line that we've ever had,
Yeah.
and that's remarkable. And defensive line talent is starting to emerge as well. So we're getting the backups activated, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see this team kind of come together because they're not, it doesn't feel like we're the defending national champions, and that's by design. I mean, the leaders on this team, the guys that are going to be the captains of this team, went to Ryan Day and they said, look, take all that stuff down. This team hasn't done any of that stuff. That was last year's team. That was Will Howard and JT and Denzel Burke and Trey and Quinshon. Those guys are all gone. This team needs to go earn their own stuff. And I think they've is it possible to be hungry when you're third ranked in the defending national champion? Yeah, I think this is a hungry team. It's a young team, but super talented, and I just really like the way things are going. I love, and I'll keep saying this as long as it's true, but I love the fact we've been able to avoid any key injuries. And that's,
Yeah.
not every team can say that. There's, yeah, knock on wood. A lot of teams have suffered injury. Texas has, lost a couple of guys on the offensive line. Notre Dame's lost. I mean, that's a real thing when you go through a fall camp like this. Let's just hope that it continues, in terms of doing it. And yeah, no, I think Ryan Day is really he's pushing these guys hard. This is a tough fall camp, and they're not always that way. I mean, sometimes they back off a little bit, but he's been it's kind of like Cersei Lannister where he's choosing violence. He's choosing violence here in the fall
Yeah.
camp, but they're going at it hard. I think it's because he realizes they have to get out of the gate. They got to fire game one. You don't have Akron to play against and acclimate and kind of build up. I mean, think about last year. We didn't really play a game until Oregon, and what was that, week 6 or something like that?
Yeah.
We had a bunch of games to kind of cut our teeth, kind of get ready. Well, man, we gotta be ready to go. So Ryan's got to get these guys hitting and used to hitting and ready to go on August 30th, which is crazy because last year, like I
Yeah.
said, we didn't have a real game until October.
Right.
So this season's got a completely different feel to it, but I really like the way that it's building. I really like the way the guys are emerging, and I'm super excited about what this team's going to be able to do because I think it's a special group, it's a super talented group, and I can't wait to see them on the field.
Yes, sir. And the urgency is definitely there. And it's funny. Listen, I'm a press conference boy. I watch Ryan Day, and I'm not trying to make it seem like I can just read minds and discern all inner thoughts. But if you watch someone for a while, you can kind of pick up on them. Just like with Tressel, even though he gave nothing, he filibustered. I can kind of like pick up on stuff. With that said, Ryan Day, he's given some of the coach speak that he typically gives as far as, hey, we got a lot to do and whatever. But sometimes he'll give a tell, and I can tell he likes this team. Number one, I think he really likes this team, just reading in between the lines. And then on top of that, he said, listen, we're fired up to play this game. Like that Ryan Day, I can tell. To me, my interpretation off of following him and watching him for so long is a quiet confidence. I'm not going to show my full hand, but we feel good about what we got. And I really believe that. And so obviously he's trying to temper expectations. He's trying to make sure his guys are focused. They don't feel like they've arrived and all that. But I really believe they really, really love what they have and what they're seeing and the potential what they're seeing. So to kind of, you said a lot, Nevada, as you always do, and it's always great and it gets my mind going. But you mentioned, these guys coming back. So it's a luxury. We have Caleb Downs, y'all. You know that guy, Caleb Downs, number 2 on defense? Like, he's going to go down as one of the all-time greats, not just on the field, but I mean, just he's a leader. He is a leader of men, super mature. I mean, we still got guys. We got a lot of guys coming back, y'all. Like, that's what I'm saying. I know we lost a ton, but we got a lot of guys who played a lot of football. And not only that, they've been sort of discipled by the Emeka Ibukas and the Trey Hendersons and those seniors, the Donovan Jacksons. They've been discipled. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like the blueprint is there. And so I feel like this team, we're not coming in here super green. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we have key spots where we're replacing guys, but don't sleep on the veterans on this team that just won a natty. And JJ Smith, man, I know he's a true sophomore. He's not super vocal and all the other stuff, but best believe he's a leader. He is a leader by display, by what he does. And this cat, Nevada, I don't know if you heard this. This dude, I'm laughing because somebody on TikTok, they clipped his interview, and the whole time they're reacting like, what? This dude wasn't going full speed all year last year? Stop it. It was an Alabama fan. Jeremiah Smith said he wasn't going full speed because he was hesitating. And he was a freshman last year. People just look at the magic and his athleticism, how crazy he went off. But he was a freshman. Like, do y'all understand? Like, this dude, how much more he knows. Nevada, please, I see you unmuted. Please jump in because I was cracking up at this Bama fan, scared to death at what J.J. Smith said about hesitating last year.
Well, JJ's just, I mean, he's different, and we hyped the heck out of him last year before he came in, and then he went on and surpassed everybody's expectations despite
Yeah.
the crazy hype, which I'm not saying that's never happened before, but that's rarely. I mean, you have to go back to maybe Maurice Claret to have a guy that was so heralded that kind of came in and then just went right off the thing and it backed it all up. And you
I
know,
don't even know if he was that hyped as much as JJ. That's a good spinoff question. I'm sorry, go ahead. But that's a
well,
good,
no, I mean, he was USA Today Offensive Player of the Year, and he was, I mean, as
yeah.
hyped as you could be back in 2002,
True.
because
Yeah.
back then there wasn't as much social media, there wasn't
Good
as
point.
much
No 7-on-7s. Good point.
yeah, there
Great
wasn't as
point.
much stuff like that, but all you had was Bill Korlick's 900 number and Buckeye Scoop Bulletin, what I'm saying, like that. So it's like,
Yes.
it was those were the dark days of stuff. But no, it's for JJ's a guy that no matter how many of the accolades, no matter how much of the money and everything else like that, he just keeps working harder. I mean, he keeps working harder. He's an Iron Buckeye for the second year in a row. He's a guy that is the ultimate all ball film room junkie. And yeah, by his own admission, he was hesitating. He wasn't playing at full speed. He didn't have a full understanding of the entire offense and the entire defense of what he was facing, but now he does. So, we talk about guys playing faster. Well, he's playing faster. And when you combined blinding athleticism, I mean, legitimate 4.3 speed, with in a 6'4", 225 pound, twisted steel body. I mean, it's Randy Moss-esque, but with a enhanced understanding of what the offense wants from him and what the defense is trying to do to him. So, um, it's one of the reasons why I've been so bullish on Julian Sand and why I've been so bullish on this OSU offense, because that's a guy that's when you have a true Marmaduke on your offensive side, and it's a guy that demands double and triple coverage, and that just means other guys are going to be open, or if they play him straight up, like Notre Dame last year was like, hey, we're going to play JJ Smith straight up. We're going to go man to man, mano a mano. And when the game was on the line, did they roll help over the top on JJ? Nope. Left the guy out there on the island. What do? We smoked them and converted that 46-yard bomb from Howard to Smith. And I think
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of that, because I think JJ he's playing markedly faster because he knows more about the offense. He understands more about what they want to do. He's playing freer, playing looser, and that's a very scary prospect for opposing defense, because uh, he's better. He's a better player now than he ever was, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me either, man. It's exciting. And just real quick about saying is that I want people to realize, like, saying doesn't have to go out there and be Joe Montana. Okay. I kind of want to remind people of that, Nevada, because, yes, it's his first time starting. And it's a huge game, but being at home for this game and his first start is huge as well. That's one thing. But also, Ryan Day and Brian Hartline are going to have a good game plan. Saying as long as he keeps his nerves in check and he does his job, which is to make the proper reads based off the scheme, based off of what they prepare for. Make your reads, okay? If it breaks down, know when to throw it away, know when to pick up a couple yards. All of that stuff. Keep us ahead of schedule. If we do that, he's not going to have to force anything, and eventually things will open up. So if we were on the road in Austin, I would be a lot more. Listen, I'm nervous just because it's a big game and it's his first start. This, natural excitement, nervousness, but being at home is huge. And so saying doesn't have to go out there and just, light the word on fire. Get the ball to your weapons, and just and let it go. And so I think, to your point, Nevada, that you said before, you think he's going to outperform Arch. That's not even necessarily saying he's better than Arch right now, per se. Arch has a leg up on him, a little more experienced. But yeah, in that environment with our offensive weapons, that O line, Sayan has an opportunity to really just go out there and just really, really make an impression of just running this offense. Dare I say, managing the game. He doesn't have to go out there and be CJ Stroud. Just get out there and make the right plays. And so that's all I say about that. I'm trying to ease some people's minds, because I think some fans, when you hear them talk, it's like they're putting this pressure on saying that shouldn't necessarily be on him, in my opinion. What do you think about that? You think I'm oversimplifying it?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you this. Julian Sane might be like that. His ability to process information and do it is really next level good. I mean, it's among the elite quarterbacks. I mean, it's for Ryan Day knows that when you talk to the coaches, they all marvel at his ability to process. One, two, Julian is a really laid back, cool customer. I mean, he is exactly what you think out of like a quarterback from California. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of got that surfer, laid back kind of attitude.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm not saying he's not going to be rattled from being at 100,000, but if what I'll say is this: if any true freshman, or he's not a true freshman, he's but if any first time starter can handle that type of thing, it's Julian. I'm
Yeah.
Julian. He's just a cool cat, man. It just, there's some guys you meet them and they seem way older than their years. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He's just an old soul. And Julian is a guy that, man, he's played in the big games. He's played, he's been classically trained as a quarterback. He doesn't get rattled. He's not going to go out there and soil himself out there in the stadium because he's so nervous or he's trying to do too much or something like that. You guys will see. I mean, he's different, man. He's a different kind of yeah. He's a different kind of quarterback than maybe we've ever had
Hmm.
at Ohio State because he's just, he's that pure spinner of the football. You know what I'm saying? Like that. He's that guy that can just go out there and just throw it. I mean, CJ Stroud had a lot of that in him, but I'm telling you, CJ never had the accolades that Julian Sain did, and
True.
CJ had never played at the level that Julian Sain had played. I mean, CJ played out in Rancho Cucamonga, you know what I'm saying? And he was known as a good quarterback, and obviously, I mean, he's a guy he's going to make literally $1 billion in the NFL. So this is not a knock on him, but I mean, Julian's just different. I mean, Julian's a guy that everybody's known about Julian Sane for a decade in Southern California, and he's been one of those legendary Southern California quarterbacks from the down in Orange County, and a guy that's I just think I think I think you got a glimpse of it in the spring game, but
Yeah.
this is a kid that I've watched. I mean, I don't always have the benefit of seeing kids a lot, but this is a kid that I've seen a lot, growing up. So I've known him and known of him for a very long time, and so I feel like I know his game as well as I've known any quarterback that's ever come to Ohio State. And I'm telling you, he's going to be really, really good. And I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. And I think he's going to be able to step in and he'll be more than just a game manager on August 30th. I mean, he's a guy that he'll make the plays, he'll make the throws when we need him to, because he's just that kind of cat.
Yeah, I believe it. And I know people will say, well, it's just a spring game. Yeah, you don't want to put too much extras on a spring game, but you can't just act like there's nothing to pull from it either. I mean, he looked cool, calm, and collect and under control and accurate out there. I mean, his processing, you could see, you got a glimpse of his ability to process quickly and make the right reads and make accurate throws. I mean, zipping it around. Okay. So, I mean, that is something to look at and work with for sure. And so now and that wasn't even with the complete ones all the time. It was a mixture of some guys. You put the full gamut in there the last week of fall camp, and I believe he'll be named a starter probably next week. So we'll see. But yeah, I agree. Man. I'm very, very optimistic that he's going to do well. I'm confident he's going to do well, I should say. But I really want to see him get out there and just, again, Ryan Day always preaches, I do believe he can make the throws, especially to our wide receivers, but I want him to show that early command as a quarterback, make the right decisions, don't press, don't try to do too much. And I guess that's what I kind of mean by manage the game is not try to do more than what the game plan is saying. Yes, if you got Jeremiah Smith on a fade route, put it in there, put it in the pocket. But make the reads you should be making based off of what the defense is doing and what you see and all that. So that's gonna be good, man. I'm excited about this about this game. Go ahead. You about to say something?
Well, it just I mean, the thing with you know, I mean, Ohio State fans. I mean, okay, Ohio State fans weren't. I mean, I think you never want to generalize. It's a large fan base, but I don't think Ohio State fans in general were that excited about Will Howard last year. And I'm talking about even during the season. Like I didn't, I'm on the message boards, I'm on social media, I see a thing, and I think people were like, if you were talking about what was his team strength, they weren't talking about Will Howard as a team strength. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was almost like we won in spite of Will Howard or whatever it was. And then like you look at the end of the season and it's like you're talking about a guy that threw for 4,000 yards, 42 touchdowns, completed 73% of his passes,
Yeah.
and Ohio State fans were dogging the guy. And so I mean 73%. I mean, B, come on, like 73%. I mean, you couldn't go in the backyard and complete 73% of your passes against
Right.
error. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like the fact that he's doing that, and so I just I wonder if if just the expectations are so high for these for quarterbacks and stuff that will Julian saying be able to live up to them? I'm saying like I always try to say, will he be loved or will he be hated? Because Ohio State fans make up their mind really early whether they're going to love a guy or hate a guy. You know what I'm saying? And I just wonder
Mm.
what Julian's saying where he's going to fall on that because if 73%, 4,000 yards, 42 touchdowns against 10 interceptions, 4-to-1 ratio is considered subpar. Or I mean, I don't know, the Will Howard stats. Then how's Julian going to do better? Do people expect him to complete 75% of his passes, to never throw an interception? I mean, like, what are your thoughts on that?
No, that's good. You got me pondering now because you're absolutely correct. That listen again, social media, like on my Facebook page, dealing with a lot of fan takes. A lot of them, Nevada, were not all of them. There was a good amount who rocked with Will early, but there was a good amount who didn't. And they were saying, "Oh well, you know, uh, Kyle McCord 2.0 is what they said." And I was just like, "Shut up." Number one, number two, came from Kansas State, and he's a runner, but he's not that good of a passer. So, there was some doubt. And then some of those cats at the end of the season try to act like they never was on that. You know what I'm saying? So to your point, I really don't know like where our fan base is with saying right now. Like I don't feel like there's overwhelming hate or it's like super doubt, but that I might have to do a poll question. I might have to do a poll question because that's a really, really good because I don't know what to expect, Nevada. Like
Well, I think you got
I
to word it like this: are we going to love Julian saying, or are we going to hate Julian saying? We got to make up our mind now.
let me
You
note this
understand?
down so I won't
Yeah.
forget.
Do we love him or do we hate him? Because like we don't wait for them to perform either. This isn't about performance, so we just make up our mind, like, do we love this guy or are we going to just hate on this guy? Because if we hate on him, we're going to pick apart. I mean, Will Howard would have games last year where he was like 14 of 15 and people would be complaining about the one incompletion, what I'm saying?
Right.
Or if he threw a touchdown pass, they'd be saying, well, he threw it like 6 inches behind the guy. Remember those,
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I
And it
was
was like,
I was gonna say
so,
real quick. I had to fight off cats about him not having a strong arm. He can't throw the deep ball. And I'm just like, listen, okay, listen. I know there's some balls that seemed like they were underthrown, but the deep ball capability I was never concerned about his arm. One thing that Ryan Day did say, it was his feet. Him and Chip Kelly kept working with his feet. And so the consistency with his feet, and you saw that deep ball started hitting clearly. At the end of the season, it was like deep ball concerns. What? But yes, Nevada, people were just beat me over the head with that. Like, man, he can't throw the deep ball. So yes, you're right. There was a lot of Howard hate and just they really wasn't that fired up about him. And they were kind of skeptical.
think of it, it's like Trey Henderson. Trey Henderson came and like people just dogged on that guy. I mean, that guy,
Yeah, they
they
did.
wanted they wanted Dallin Hayden to play in front of him. They wanted Chip Trainum to play in front of him. He was soft. He was this and that,
Yeah,
and
soft.
it yeah, and it's just funny. We're like we just kind of make up our minds on some of this stuff, and I just I hope that people can rock with Julian saying. I hope people can stay with him because playing a quarterback, invariably you're going to make mistakes. I mean, something I hate to say this to you, and I hate to bring this bad mojo on us, but he will throw an interception at some point in time this year. He will throw an interception. He'll
Yes,
make
he
a
will.
bad play. He'll fumble or he'll make a bad read or he'll take a sack or something like that. And, that stuff happens. But, I think, for quarterbacks, you just got to, take a look, see, is he doing more positive things than negative things? Is he moving the team? How's his demeanor? Because Kyle McCord, and I was probably more bullish on Kyle McCord than the average bear. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like that. I thought we could win with Kyle McCord. Um, but he gave off this kind of nervous tension to
He
me
did.
just
He
watching him
did.
play. And
Yeah.
his pocket presence was just, I mean, he had negative pocket presence. Like it was like he would somehow find the guy. How you watch Tom Brady, who's like the least athletic guy in the world, but he could dance around in the pocket and always
Yeah.
find the soft spot and kind of do that. Or Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Kyle McCord just found a way to like, you know, jump into like the Michigan guy, the sack at the end of the game. Like he would find a way just to, like, fall into the guy. And
He had a magnet under his shoulder pads to
he
suck him
he
towards
did.
the.
It did. He just like, so he just says, that's just kind of the way that it was. And I think, with Julian just has a cool to him. I don't get that nervous tension. I don't get the nervous energy, but man, it's the quarterback position. You're going to make mistakes. And, you know yourself as an athlete, you didn't always make the right decision. You didn't always hit the
Right.
shot.
Nobody
You didn't always make the
does.
right. Nobody does, man. It's like,
Jordan
but
didn't. Like people, it's just
yeah,
people are crazy.
well, I mean, just the expectations are just so high. I just hope that people can give them some grace, give them some time, because I think if
Yeah.
they do, because people they don't think it makes the difference, man. But social media is the devil. I mean, social media nearly cost Harry Miller his life. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like people
Yeah.
people getting on these athletes, and unfortunately, these athletes they've grown addicted to social media. They've grown up with it. They love it. They love the accolades. They love stuff. But that when it turns negative and it starts going off. That's why, like, people write stuff and stuff. I never am on social media because I don't ever read that stuff. So people, it's like they're talking to themselves. They can write anything they want about me or anything else. It's like I don't read it because I don't want to inject that poison into my veins. And I would sell that to any of the players. I'd be like, guys, stay off social media. It's not going to be good for you. And from a fan standpoint, man, let's just be a little bit more graceful in 2025 and enjoy the 2024 national championship for at least one more year, and then we can be super negative in 2026. Deal?
Is it deal? Ready, break.
Let's go.
No, but no, that you said a lot, man. Just one thing about social media. I'll say this because listen, Nevada, like I've seen people get upset in our video comments because we've tried to spread positive energy and mindsets when it comes to being a fan. We we're not just hitting you over the head and say you can never have a concern, you can never be negative. We're not saying that. We're saying some of you, okay, because this is what we do. We are leaders in this. Okay, we are in the front lines of this. Way too many of you, in my opinion, are miserable, consistently miserable. And we are a part of one of the, if not the most successful, consistent, teams in college football history. And shoot, and especially the last 20, 25 years. I mean, compared to everyone else, we should be way more happy and more positive than negative. Okay. Now, I understand we want to win every game and all the other stuff. And I get that. But we're just trying to spread some cheer. Like, listen, you have a reason to be a little more positive, but Nevada people will fight you. If you try to spread that love and say, listen, man, you might want to be a little more positive. Look what you got to cling to. You could be a Purdue fan. No offense, Purdue. We love you. But you see what I'm saying? So listen, some people are just not going to change. And you're correct. Social media is just poison. Now, listen, I'm on it. I thrive on it. I'm built for it. There's a lot of idiots that irritate me, but it's just like you got to ignore it because there's just a lot of toxicity and just even evil on there. Just people who go on there who just spread evil and hate and all that other stuff. And you got to navigate through it. But to your point, if I'm one of these young athletes, I'm turning it off, or I'm making it so that I'm not as open to it because it's just ridiculous. So there was something else you said that
Well,
sparked
well, well,
sparked thought.
well,
Go ahead.
these are dark times to be an Ohio State fan right now. These are very, very difficult times to be an Ohio State fan. You
You
know what I'm
would
saying?
think.
You would think, right? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's yeah, I just I always say, man, we are not sunshine pumpers, we're weathermen. We're just telling you how it is. And it's sunny and bright in Columbus right now because I I was really concerned that this 2025 team. I am concerned about the schedule. I am concerned about the coordinators just because they're new, not because they're not
Yeah.
talented, not because they're not smart guys or whatever it is. But in terms of this team, man, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I am really really liking what I'm seeing about this team in 2025, and it's I can say for right now, like the schedule, the coordinators, that stuff's to be determined. But in terms of the team's better than I thought they were. The team's more advanced than I thought they were. The depth is better than I thought it was going to be. So, um, I was
Yeah.
kind of tempering my excitement about 2025 a little bit just because of it, but I'm getting kind of excited. I got to be honest with you. I'm getting kind of excited because you see it yourself when you go to practice and when you talk to guys around the team, it's
Yeah.
palpable. You know what I'm saying? These guys, I think everybody's kind of cluing in. This Ohio State team's got a lot of talent, and fans, you have a right to be excited because this is going to be a very, very fun team to watch.
And one thing I'll add on to that quickly. I've said this before, but I will expound on this again. Okay. Not only okay, you got the talent, like Nevada said, but you have a hungry, determined coach who emerged from a situation where his back was against the wall, unlike you've ever seen. And I said this before, I'm going to repeat it. I never called for Ryan Day's head. I wanted to see, I gave him to the very last moment against Tennessee before I would even declare anything because he earned that right, in my opinion. And he stepped up and showed us. Rest is history. But I'll be honest with you. I was still concerned of the aftermath of coming out of that with the heat he took, his family took, and all of that to see will he still have the energy, will he still have the vigor to still, be that guy. And he came out glowing. I like to say the Bruce Leroy glow, you know. And so not only that, Nevada, you got a coach who is determined and fired up and looks like he has his second wind to go out and be a multiple national championship winner. He has declared it. He has said it. This is what we want. This is what we want to do. We want to be the first coach to do this since Woody Hayes. And so that in itself, and he's going out and making all these great hires. He's following the Nick Saban blueprint. Like he's making no bones about it. That's what he's doing. And so it's like we're in such great hands. And it's funny, Nevada, I posted Jake Butt's clip from the Big Ten practice where he mentioned the blueprint for Saban and how Ohio State is in great hands with Ryan Day and his program and just gushing. And the Michigan fans, of course, they try to come in and hate, like, oh, whatever. But he was spot on. Like we are in a great, fantastic place. And so, yes, 2026 Nevada is the year where you look at, hey, that's where you put your chips in because you got experience and you got all this talent. But this year, man, don't sleep on this year. I mean, it's exciting, Nevada, to know that we will be in it. We will be legitimate contenders this year, even though we have some inexperience, and that's just a phenomenal feeling.
Well, it is, and it's like with great power comes great responsibility, and so for Ohio State, you're expected. I mean, the expectations are high. They expect you to be good every year, but I don't know how reasonable is to do that, especially coming off a year where you've lost 14 guys to the NFL draft. You've lost coaches to the stuff, and with Ryan, it's I say this a lot. Enjoy him while he's here because he's not going to be here forever. Because there's going to come a point in time where some NFL owner is going to offer him 25 million because that is the going rate for an NFL head coach right now. It's 25 million because these teams are worth $5 and $6 billion, and that's chump change to pay your head coach, the guy that kind of sets the whole thing. And some NFL team's going to come to him and say, something, you don't have to deal with NIL. You don't have to deal with recruiting. You don't have to deal with unrealistic expectations of perfection. Come here and you can lose 6 games a year and you don't get death threats and you come here, and that's going to happen. So as a fan, I'm enjoying every minute that he's here because I know he's a great college coach. He's already when you win a national championship, win as much as you want, he's earned the right to be called great. And so, enjoy it. These great times, they never last forever, but it sure seems like it because, like you said, it's been almost 2 decades of you know, just consistent success and excellence by Ohio State coaches, and Ryan Day has continued that tradition.
Absolutely. And so it's been, and like I said, shout out to Spiro, man. He's put out graphics and comparisons and stuff to kind of show Alabama and Ohio State and the consistency. I mean, we've been the model of consistency. Have we always fulfilled our goals every year? No. But there's a lot of programs who would kill to be in our position. And so there's that. We got some super chats coming in. Good to see some good questions, good comments. So we can definitely dive into that now. And let's get started. All right. First one here from Trevor Cruz. Thanks for the $4.99. The NCAA is doing quite the disservice to college football if the cheating scandal isn't resolved before the season starts. You want to jump on that first, Nevada? I'll follow up.
Well, I think it's going to be. I think the general guideline is 30 to 90 days post hearing. That would put it at September 7th. Um, I have every reason to believe, from information that I have that's privately available to me, as well as what's been publicly available to me, that this decision should be out by then. But look, the reason that we're here, if you go back and follow the timeline on this, the reason this is even taken, this has been under 2 years, which is the warp speed. But the reason it's even taken this long has been a lack of cooperation from Michigan. They obstructed the investigation. I mean, that's literally in the thing. So if Michigan wanted this thing adjudicated faster or before the season or whatever it was, they should have cooperated. They should have provided information. They should not have stonewalled the investigation. And again, that's not Nevada Buck talk. That's not just B Moses talking. Go look on that is literally on the NCAA dashboard. You can read the enforcement dashboard, say, proceedings delayed due to lack of cooperation from Michigan. I mean, so I agree with you. I think sooner is better, but it's literally going to be any day now, and um, you know, before September 7th, and I right as the season started, and I think that's probably as fast as they could humanly do it. But that's just my opinion.
Yes, and I was trying to quickly find a tweet by Spiro. If I can't find it, it's cool. But basically, Nevada, he was as he always does on X, just absolutely pummeling Michigan fans who dare to come at him with their foolishness. He just always smacks them down. But they were talking about the investigation and delays, and he just hit him with a nice little screenshot from the what's it called, from the dashboard, showing them like this was delayed because of Michigan. These Michigan fans have no clue of what's going on, by the way, y'all. They don't 99.9% of them, Nevada, they don't follow this. They don't know what a mitigating versus aggravating is. They don't even know what the matrix says for the penalties are. They don't know nothing. All they know is, well, Chris Ballard said Sherrod Moore should only get probably 2 more games. That's all they know. Okay. So anyway, but yes, I'll respond to this now. So, like Nevada said, 30 to 90 days from the hearing, July 7th. Intrinsic brought out some good research. It showed recent investigations, Tennessee, UCLA, were 75 and 84 days within that 30 to 90 day window. We're at day 65, I believe. So again, it could still drop any day now within the window, but it just kind of gives you some insight that it doesn't necessarily. The NCAA has their own timeline, right? So I'm not going to argue with you about you feeling there's a disservice, but at the same time, it's just like, what are you going to do? At this point, we've been grinding this out for almost 2 years. And so when it drops, it drops. At least we know we have an end date. And I'm very confident it's going to drop before August 30th. I think it'll drop before then. September 5th is the 90th day, I'm pretty sure. So I don't see it going beyond that. So you'll probably get your wish. But to me, I'm all about like it, I'm not really pressed. Yes, I want the hammer to drop today. I want it to drop tomorrow. But I'm just confident in our research and what we've been able to look at and follow along with to feel confident about our prediction. Like I'm confident about that. I know it's gonna come. When it comes, it's gonna come and it's gonna be crazy. So that's kind of where my energy is, Nevada.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm 100% confident in our read on the situation, and I agree with you on the Michigan. I don't think the Michigan fans have any idea what's coming, which is going to be just their tears are going to be delicious when this happens.
Yes, absolutely will be. And it's funny. I sent something to Intrinsic earlier. Some of their comments, and actually, it was funny. It was a screenshot of. I'm so glad I thought about this. You earlier, remember you said you post stuff and you just go and just people just responding to themselves. Well, somebody, a Michigan page, screenshotted your tweet, recently about the Penn State level of sanction package, and they were just talking about, when's the hammer coming? I thought you said the hammer's coming. Still mocking, and I was just laughing to myself, like, see, these dudes. This is going to make it sweeter. These screenshots and tagging you and all this other stuff. This is just going to make the tears even more
Yeah,
delicious.
I gotta be honest with you, okay? Like this is how out of the loop I don't even know what tagging means, or like I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm being completely
It's when
honest
you
with you.
like they added you, like at Nevada Buck,
Yeah,
like they.
I know, but like I don't even does that supposed to like does that like notify me, or does that like tickle me, or does that like tell me somehow, because like I said, you're literally talking like, guys, I'm gonna let you guys know a little secret. When you do that, I don't read any of it. So you're literally talking to yourself. If you think you're
Oh
getting
no,
some
they're talking to you. They talking to you. They
you're getting
beating you up
some
online.
sick burn on me, man. If there's no sick burn, I don't read direct messages. I don't read comments. I don't read anything. So I don't even know what that means. But hey,
Yeah,
yeah,
hilarious. But
yes,
either way, yeah, it's just gonna be a hearty gut punch to these fools. But all right, Mark Bundy, one of my favorite guys. Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Julian will do fine. He's got this. Amen. I agree. Nothing else for me to say. I agree. He's going to be fine and more than fine. Nevada.
yeah. Julian's that guy, man. I'm very, very confident, very, very, very confident in it. He was born for this, man. He was born for big moments like this, and I think he's going to be terrific. And I think Ohio State fans are going to love this guy.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm gonna put that poll out there too. And actually, knowing Funky or Devin or somebody, probably Funky, he probably already started the thread.
Do we love
or
him or do we
or
hate him?
yeah, or Uncle Buck. One of y'all probably beat me to it. Like, stop stealing my thunder. Let me post it. Nah, it's okay. Actually, go ahead and post it. I don't care. I just want to get it out there, and then I'll post it on my Twitter as well. But all right, next one here from Joe Grizzly. Thanks for the two. Offense will be decent. What about the defense? So, Joe, last few pods, I've been raving about the defense. I've been saying how, my excitement for the offense was obviously there with Jeremiah Smith coming back and, this O line. But watching the defense in person in practice, and then also the follow up nuggets from our inside guys, it's just I'm super excited about this defense. I don't know. I'm fired up about it. I think our defense is going to be really, really good, and I'm excited to see what Matt Patricia deploys against Texas and against Arch, and that's just it. So my answer is I think the defense is going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I think unfortunately, again, we're talking about we've been number one in the country for the last 2 years. So like,
Yeah.
can we be better than that? Well, no. So I think the defense, by definition, can take a little bit of a step back because I mean, heck, last year what do we average, like 10 points a game? Or I mean, just some
Right.
ridiculous stat. So um, I don't know if we'll be at that level, but I think the defense is going to be very, very good. The defense will be good enough to keep us in every game. And I think Matt Patricia is going to bring some stuff that we haven't seen before. So it's going to be a different looking defense as well. And I think that's gonna provide problems for teams because they haven't seen this style of defense out of Ohio State before, and that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yep, and like we've said, Sark is not going to know exactly what to scheme up. I mean, even Matt Patricia. I mean, it's like he's so multiple, and he's been out the game for a year or two. Like, okay, you go back and watch New England tape, maybe, sure, maybe, but you just don't know. And that's the thing that makes me feel even better about this is that you can't really pin down what he's going to do. And so I'm very, very excited about that. Joe Grizzly, once again, thanks for the two. Ohio State can win in 25. They're saying 2026 too. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'll tell you flat out. These are my expectations. This is how I see it. We're going to go up to the Big Blouse and beat the team up north. Okay. Ryan Day is going to go back to when he first beat them in 2019, blew them out. We're going to go back up there and get the dub, and we're going to make the playoffs. That's my expectation right now for this team. As I get to see them more, play more, and all that, things will elevate. But that's my initial expectations. We're going up to the Big Blouse to beat the Skunks, and we'll make the playoffs. And then from there, if we make the tournament with that experience, all those reps for these young guys, we have as good a shot to win it as anybody. What's your thoughts, Nevada?
Yeah, I don't think there's a great team this year. I mean, I don't think there's no juggernaut, there's no big boogeyman out there that you're like, wow. And there be, I mean, look, we're getting the closest thing to a boogeyman in Texas week one, so we'll know exactly where Ohio State is from a talent standpoint and from a national ranking perspective. But I agree with you. We'll be favored in that game. We'll be favored up in Michigan this year, and we're a prohibitive favorite to make the playoffs. So I don't think either one of those predictions are crazy, and we're going to be a dangerous team. This team's going to get better as the season progresses, and I think by the end of the year we'll be playing our best football, and that's going to be scary for some teams to play us.
Yes, it is. And the college football nerds were saying the same thing. Real quick, here's the post right here. Just really, really quick from Spiro. This Michigan fan is mocking the process. Talking about the delay of the NOA. He clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. And Spiro hits him with the screenshot. I love how you're mocking the delayed NOA when it was only delayed because Michigan wasn't cooperating with the investigation. Had to school them real quick. And it's just like, dude, like, why do y'all keep trying this, man? Then he shows the other screenshot. You can, all this stuff is public, y'all. We've been telling y'all this for months. For all you, where's the hammer and Scoop is lying, we've been showing you receipts. This is public. You can go to the NCAA website. You can go study this stuff and see how they make their decisions. You can get an idea of why we're saying this is probably going to be most likely going to be a failure to monitor aggravated. We're not just pulling it out of our cracks. We're basing it off of facts and the case. Okay. But anyway, I love when Spiro just be killing these cats. I had to show that real quick. Anything on that before I move to the last chat? Actually, we got two
Yeah,
more.
no, Spiro is a national treasure, and he always brings the receipts, man, because we're fact based, and so is he, and that's what I love about him.
Yep. Same. Same. All right. Joe Grizzly, you going ham tonight. I appreciate you. Thanks for the 5. If Ryan leaves for the NFL, hopefully he sets up the program, carries on the tradition. I would take Marcus Freeman right now if Day wants to leave. So I'll let you go first. What's your thoughts on that? I got a few thoughts. I'll punt to you first.
I hope we can do better than Marcus Freeman. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I always say smart people always reserve the right to change their mind, and I reserve the right to change my mind on Marcus Freeman. But I'm not as high on Marcus Freeman as a lot of people are. Um, but I mean, he took a team to the national championship last year, and that's not an insignificant accomplishment, and certainly got the Ohio State pedigree, and he understands. I mean, I want him to be great, so I want him to be great. I'm not sure if he is, and we need a great head coach to continue on the thing. But that's certainly a name that's going to be around. That's going to be a lot of excitement. But I need to see more before I'm sold on Marcus Freeman. But that's just where I'm at in 2025.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm the same. I'm very protective as a fan for this program. Like as far as who takes over, um, I'm not okay. I'll let y'all in on something, and some of y'all might be mad at me. Listen, I love Luke Fickell as a coach. I think he's a great defensive coach, defensive mind, just a coach, period. But I wouldn't want him as the head coach at Ohio State. I just don't. I don't like that idea. I'm just trying to give you an idea of how I think. I think James Laurinaitis and Brian Hartline in the future could potentially be really, really good young head coaches at Ohio State. I'm not going to. I think Marcus Freeman could potentially be that guy. I'm not convinced right now either. But yeah, I'll say that I'm kind of up in the air about that, Joe Grizzly. I don't hate it. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, but I'm also not like, yeah, yo, we need to get Freeman in here. I'm not quite there yet. So yeah, I'll just say that. All right. We got one more here. Fox Body Blue. Thanks for the $4.99. Actually, I'm sorry. I skipped Joe Grizzly. You going crazy, bro. Thank you. Though I appreciate you. We'll get back to you in a second, Fox Body Blues. Joe Grizzly with the follow-up. Thanks for the 10. Thank you for covering the Michigan scandal like you have been. Never let up. After the hammer drops, I'll be here. Y'all was the ones on it, and they mad. Imagine if Ohio State did that. This is a great super chat. I love you, sir. Because, yeah, man, it's listen, we are going to continue. We're never going to let up, okay? You may hear me express frustration with some of these takes out there, not because it's going to make me stop, because clearly I haven't. Clearly, y'all have seen before I was on the show with Nevada, with Funky, before that, I was like an adamant hammer guy based off of what we've seen from the beginning in this whole case. So nothing's going to move me from that. But I just really dislike low IQ people. I dislike disingenuous people and all of that stuff. So when I vent, it's really in that vein. With that said, you're correct. And we predicted this. Me and Nevada had predicted this. People are upset with us. You're still talking about the hammer and, and all this other stuff. And even Buckeye fans. And it's just like, you're making us look bad. And it's just like, huh? How? How are we making it look bad? These people out here are accusing us of lying, but they can't prove it, number one. Number two, they accuse us of putting dates out there. We've never put dates out there. We've told you. I gave y'all the example of I'm Moses and my brother Noah. Noah was telling people the flood is coming. They mocked him. They didn't want to listen. We've been telling y'all the hammer is coming. Just because you don't like the timeline doesn't mean that it's not so. It's coming. Okay, so to your point, Joe Grizzly, yes, we've been very consistent about this. We will not let up, and after it drops, we will continue to go hard. And you're right. There's going to be people out there, groups, media groups. They're going to jump on it and try to act like they've been on it from the beginning. And so everybody going to know Scoop had this first. We were on this first, and we've shown you from every step of the way, receipts, proof, facts, nothing but that, as we've continued to cover this case. So thank you, Joe Grizzly, for that super chat. Nevada?
Well, yeah. I mean, I just don't. I think people. What we've tried to do is try to peel the onion back and let you guys see what the NCAA looks at, and why that level one institutional charge against Michigan is significant. Why a failure to monitor aggravated what penalties. I mean, it's all by the book. So I think people just haven't understood, NCAA rulings before. So when stuff came down, they didn't really understand. But I would say that, the coverage that we've done in collaboration with Premier Drum, Intrinsic, Justin Spiro, some of our great collaborators. And this is probably like the best covered NCAA case maybe ever in terms of doing so, because we've got down into the weeds and explained to you exactly what everything's meant, from the dashboard rulings to everything. So when it comes down, you won't be surprised. But the Michigan fans that are, like you said, that are just la-di-da, it's going down the road. Oh, we're too big to fail. They're the ones that maybe get really disappointed because they're not as educated. But that's what's going to happen.
Yep. And just real quick, I'll take it, I'm trying not to be mean before we move on, but I'm going to roll my eyes at some of y'all Buckeye fans on my page and on social media who have not been applying yourself with research, or at least looking into this stuff before just spewing, anti-hammer, let it go, all that stuff. I'm looking at y'all, some of y'all too, because they going Nevada, they're gonna try to act dumb and play like they was never on that. Nah, I see you. I see you. Just remember. But anyway, all right, let's go on to the next one. All right, back to Fox Body Blues. Thanks for the $4.99. With word that CMU is currently actively negotiating, do you think the NCAA is biding its time until CMU accepts its penalty? Nevada, what you got for that one?
No, I think the hay's in the barn. The decision's been rendered.
Yeah.
It's with legal. They're just literally, in a case that's going to be, you've got Michigan who's threatened litigation, and so you need to make sure that everything's tight. And this ruling is probably going to be 100 pages long. So and you got to get every I right and every T crossed. So I just think they're being very careful in terms of stuff. But I don't think the Central Michigan thing's going to affect what's going on with the ruling with Michigan, because it's already done.
Yeah, agreed. Simple as that. All right, and let me see, make sure, because they still been coming in. I'll make sure I got them all. Okay, yep. Here's the last one that I can see right now. Eric, thanks for the 5. Correction, it's the big outhouse. Hey, I like both. I call it the big blouse. You call it the big outhouse. Either way, it's girly and it stinks.
It's a
So
dump. It's a
it's a
dump.
dump.
Yeah.
So hey, tomato. I'll rock with that. It don't matter. I agree. And real quick, but as we close out, as Nevada was saying, how we've been keeping you on to this and explaining to you why we say this and why this is going to happen. Like, we're not just saying they're getting the hammer because we hate them and we just feel like, oh, they should get the hammer. We are literally, like, we've overwhelmed you with receipts. Case in point, Intrinsic, Nevada. I sent you the link earlier. I don't know if you got a chance to see it. He did another masterful job of walking you through. Like, when people say, explain it to me like I'm 5, that's what he did. He showed the comparison of the Ole Miss case to Michigan, and it's very eerily similar. They got a 2-year bowl ban. They got vacated wins. They got, all the little, stuff that you usually get. And there's a lot of similar things. And he lays it out. He has the press conference audio playing, and he's showing you on the screen, matching it up and showing you. Go to his Twitter, check it out. It's real dope. It's just another data point, another example of why we say what we're saying. So I just wanted to direct you towards that. Did you get a chance to see that, Nevada?
I did. It was really, really well done, and you're right. I mean, the only difference would be the distinction between ineligible players, which again, people are making a big thing out of that. Um, you know, it's a failure to monitor aggravated. It's going to carry a 1 to 3 year postseason ban. That much I'm sure of. I cannot bet with all my certainty whether it's going to be 3 years, 1 year, or 2 years. I'm saying two because I think they're going to split the baby, but that's what you're getting, guys. I mean, you're getting a bowl ban, so it's coming.
Yeah, I mean that's overwhelmingly there, and even with the vacated wins, like I said, we've busted that up several times, and we've shown you in the bylaws that number one, this is unprecedented. Okay, in the early verbiage from Tony Petitti's letter, they talk about the compromising of the integrity of the game. They talk about the sign stealing scheme was an unfair advantage. The goal was to create an unfair advantage. All the verbiage. Not only that, even in the other verbiage from the NCAA, in other cases, it explains like they have the wiggle room, they have the window, they have within their bylaws the room to vacate wins when it's not just for ineligible players. We've shown you the documents on the screen. We've showed you all of that in prior shows. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it exactly falls. But yeah, to Nevada's point, you're getting popped. Okay, if you think this is going to be a fine and Sharon Moore gets 2 more games and a fruit basket like Nevada jokes about, you got you got another thing coming. And we keep trying to prepare you, and you just keep la 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 la, but it's coming. So anyway, but yeah, another great fun show. One day closer to kickoff. I cannot wait. I saw somebody in the chat earlier talking about the talking about the game. Listen, I wish the whole noon game thing, Nevada, I wish it started a little later because, like I said, I want to hit a bunch of tailgates, man, and I'm just not going to have time to do that. I want to go out there, have fun, meet some of you guys in person. So, it ain't going to happen. But listen, it's going to be a dope environment. That crowd is going to be lit, and I'm super excited, man.
Yeah, I'm excited as well, and I'll see you there. I'm sure I'll see you there pregame. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, for sure, for sure. All right. Well, listen, love you, Buckeye Scoop family, everyone watching. If you haven't done it, please like on your way out, share this video, and we will see y'all next time. Go Bucks and peace.